In this course, I'm going to have you read a lot of essays. Well, five essays, or maybe six, that are there to illustrate um, good writers, published writers, techniques. The way they use their words, the way they use their pronouns. Sometimes in academic writing, you hear that you shouldn't be using the I, the me, the my. I think that is a fake rule, and that it's falling out of favor. there's just there's just too many um, examples of good writing that uses those pronouns. Good serious analytical or scholarly writing that uses the I, me, my. That we don't need to even worry about that rule anymore. So I want you to look at the style. Want you to look at the choice of topics and the way they actually make a text work. They're all trying to create interest, maintain it, and reward it. Think of that in terms of how they write their titles and how they start off the beginning of their essays. I'm talking about the first line or the first one or two or three paragraphs. So let's take a look at this with Farewell, My Mailbox. This is about 1,000 words, maybe 1,500. It uses facts and it documents those facts in the essay by writing in the actual text itself the name of the person and the place. Um, in today's day and age with AI and internet search, um, that probably is sufficient for the way that this article was being provided to the public as sort of a magazine article, right? In college, I think most of your teachers are going to want you to take it one step further by providing a bibliography page. But what you need to notice here is that this author is working with facts and is documenting those facts, but within the essay itself. There are no footnotes, there's no bibliography page, but he's telling you enough so that you can find the information. He's attributing it to the people who made those statements. Notice how he, what I really want you to watch here is um, the way an author here takes an informational approach, right? The information being, hey, what are the facts and bolts about this? What are the numbers of the post office? What's the finances like? Um, how many of these blue mailboxes are disappearing? You get a lot of information here, okay? But this author, Bob Greene, moves past the pure information to try to do something more meaningful and significant with the topic that he has chosen. Um, we know that the main object he's working with here is the blue mailbox. It's in the title and it's in the graphics that are included with the essay, and he talks about that specific thing, very soon on in the essay. But by extension, it's about the United States Postal Office. Um, but what does he do towards the end of the essay? He uses all the information he has given the reader up front to go deeper what with his writing. He's going to ask us towards the second half of the essay to consider the mailbox as a symbol. All right. And he wants us to really think about what it has meant to the ethos of being a citizen, to the citizens of the United States, that we actually have access to services that can send, for example, a letter from Los Angeles to New York for under $1. Uh, the price is dated, but there were points when that stamp was 25 cents, 29 cents, 35 cents, 38 cents. Now I think it's somewhere in the 70s. But the idea is that um, there's a particular type of service that is represented by the United States Postal Service, a particular type of company, all right, kind of nonprofit, kind of for-profit company. You need to think about what type of company he's actually talking about. This company has the right to ask Congress to cover its um, budget gaps, but it also is trying to be profitable on its own and to sell things like stamps and boxes and all sorts of um, delivery rates. Like if you want just a 1 week delivery, then it's so much. But if you want it to be next day, you can pay for that. So um, there's that type of company, and my question to you is that is that type of company inherent to a democracy that is running on a capitalist framework? In other words, if you have a voting system and a constitution, and the people of the country have a right to the say of the government of the country, and if you're also allowing private ownership and enterprise that can be regulated by the people themselves, okay, then aren't you always going to have this type of company with its challenges? All right. I'm not saying that every company is like that, but that's one of the things that I think is being highlighted here, a certain type of company that springs up when you have a democratic capitalist society at work. Um, and it all started with the mailbox. So I think if you want to take this approach, you might. I think it's the approach of complexity. You might look around in your daily life and see, is there some sort of thing that people are involved with, um, that I can maybe explain and give some facts about, but then in the second um, part of my writing, try to turn it into a symbol, try to turn it into something more complicated. And can I just make my idea stick? You don't have to prove it. You just have to make it make sense. You know what I'm saying? By that I mean that your audience might still walk away unconvinced or not a believer, but they should be able to walk and say, well, I can see how somebody else might believe that. And so think of all the things that you have in America and as part of our process of living and the history that we've had of living. For example, when you go through the public school system or even the private school system, which is often modeled on the public school system in terms of curriculum, and you graduate from high school, don't you have some sort of graduation party? What is graduation all about anyway? What does the word mean? And why do we have this weird event? Why 12 years? What's up with that? 12 grades? You might want to research that and then try to take it to a deeper level by suggesting that there's something more at play here than just a neat way to organize education and to make sure that by the time someone is 18, when they're legally considered adult, they don't have to go to school anymore. I don't know. I mean, but that's kind of the approach that Bob Greene took. He started off with the mailbox, and by the end, he was talking about something much deeper. And I think if you can find out something to start off with like that and provide a lot of information, you can get your sources and your research in, and then you can move into a theoretical deepening of whatever it is you're working with. And I would say, if you've never written an essay like that, go for it. Use this class as a chance to experiment and see where you get with it.